CITIUS MAG live in Paris. Chris Chavez and Eric Jenkins, and now we're joined by Olympic 1500-meter bronze medalist Yared Nuguse. Yared, congratulations on an epic performance in that final to come away with your first Olympic medal. What are the feelings? I guess it's been 48 hours or so since then.
Yeah. I think we're just cusping on 2 days now, and I think still a little surreal and just very, very exciting. I've got to watch that race back a couple times now, and I'm just like, man, I can't believe I did that. Like that was literally just me a couple days ago, just like putting my whole soul on the track just to see what I could do. So no, it's still just super awesome, and I'm still pretty pumped.
How much of it wasn't kind of like an out-of-body experience in that final lap or so? Because even in Cole recapping it in the mix zone, and I'm sure that's when like the feelings are most raw. It blacked out essentially in the final 100. For you, was it similar?
Yeah, I think I had a similar experience, just because I think when things are going well, it's like very easy to just like stay in the zone and just like not even think about what's happening. But I just remember like 200 meters to go, just being like, one, like, oh, Cole is here, awesome, and then two, just like, wow, like I feel actually really good compared to like how I've been feeling like in other races lately. So I'm just like, I feel like I could really just go for it right now. And so and then once you hear the crowd, and it all just drowns out, and then all of a sudden I got a bronze medal. So yeah, it's pretty sick.
So much hype, so much build up leading into this race. Did it kind of play out how you thought it would in terms of race plan and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, I had a general idea of how to go, but I made a different race plan with Dathan just in case it didn't go exactly that way. I felt like Jakob was going to take it out fast. I kind of just, based on how I thought what he should do, I was just like, he'll probably do that, and it's just kind of like, hang on. And then the addition to that was, if the third lap feels like it's letting up, like, just kind of like get to the front and like kind of either force the person who's up there to keep pushing, or like start pushing it yourself, because like things got to get going, or otherwise it's going to be like a real mad dash. But luckily Jakob did not really slow down, so it was all just like, okay, now I'm just hanging on and like hoping I feel good like by the time this race is over. So yeah.
So that first lap split, 54 seconds, like, were you aware of that in that moment? And then like just thinking in general, it's like, is your internal thought like, I hope Jakob knows what he's doing here?
No, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I definitely felt the 54 first, and then like you see the time and you're like, okay, cool, noted. And then but then it's just like at that point, like, you really just gotta focus on your own race and be like, I can handle this. Like, I know I'm strong enough. I've been doing like really hard training leading up to this, and I feel like, as rounds go on, I also just feel generally stronger. I think like having like one-off races is fine, but I think like the buildup of these rounds has kind of like made me feel a lot more just confident and just, I don't know, activated, I guess. But no, at that point, it's just like, well, I think what was more impressive was, I guess, the 151-ish or something after. I think that was like, okay, like he's still keeping it up. Like that's when it's like, man, that's crazy. And then you just got to just head down and keep going with it.
Positioning-wise, what were your cues at that point to kind of remain engaged? Where was you, like Chariot was the one who kind of bridged the gap once Jakob kind of was pressing from the front, and then for you, what did you kind of want to do in terms of your positioning at that point to stay in it?
Yeah, I still wanted to stay like really close and in contention. I think a lot of times, like in races like that, I can let it get away from me, and the earlier you let that happen, like the worse that it's gonna be for you later on. So the whole time I was kind of just like do not let off of whoever you are standing behind. I think it was like there was like a few of us like those first 2 laps or something, so like it was pretty easy to flow with it. But I think like come that third lap, I think that's when was that when Chariot started pulling off?
Yeah,
and then it kind of felt like at that point it was like, oh, we're like really in the end game here, like keep on the gas, like keep going, and just, I don't know, really like do not let up. I think that was the big theme of like the first 3 laps of that race. It's just like, do not let up, do not relax, like keep going, and you'll be rewarded at the end.
Talk us about like a little bit about coming to that last 100. When did you know that, okay, like I'm gonna get a medal? Because you almost had silver there. When did you know that, okay, I got this?
I think like feeling my progression on Yako. I think I kind of like I wasn't I was just like I'm gonna keep going, but you never know what he's gonna do. So I think just like I wasn't really like sure I was getting a medal until I passed him, and then I was like, okay, I still feel good enough, and I think like he's kind of pulling back, so I feel pretty good in my medal, getting a bronze now. But I think when I rewatched that race, I also just noticed another large push right towards Josh, where I think I was kind of like, well, I don't just want bronze, like I want to win, like let me just like keep going. And even if I still can't win with the bronze, I think I'm really happy with just that moment. Felt like I left it all out there. There wasn't like anything left for me to really do, even if it was like super close. It's just like I gave it my all. And so yeah, I think like right when I passed Yago, I was like, okay, I got this. And then I kind of wanted more and kept going.
You were all smiles from the moment that you crossed the finish line.
Oh yeah, of course.
Some people would be like, "Oh man, that was so close," but it was truly just sort of like the elation of like a medal. And like we were in Budapest last year, and like you didn't come away with any hardware, and we sat down with you, but it was a step forward for you in your progression, I guess. Like, can you speak to, I guess, like that moment crossing the finish line and the elation you felt?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like I came into this being like, oh, I want to win, and at the very least to get a medal. But I was mostly just kind of focusing on winning, and but I knew like that wasn't like the most important part. That outcome isn't what was gonna like make or break like how I felt about this race. It was one, like getting to the final, which great, but also like being able to feel like I gave it everything I had on that day, and that is like pretty much exactly what I felt when I came to that line. I knew when I crossed, like I didn't think I'd beat Josh. Everyone keeps telling me they think I did, but I was like, you can kind of feel it when you're on the track, and I was kind of just like, I don't know if that was like quite like where it was. So they were like waiting a long time to put it on the screen. I was like, I'm pretty sure I got third. So I was still just like either way, like. I also think the difference between like silver and bronze is like gold is like, yeah, gold, but like silver and bronze is like cool. But I think like that moment was important just because we got here, like I was able to execute the race I wanted to, give it everything I have, and come away with something as cool as a bronze medal. So that's what was important, and that's why I was smiling, because I was like, I did that, like that's awesome, and I just want to be happy about it now.
When you say that obviously your goal was to win this thing, what is the race plan, without revealing, I guess, what the backup plan with Dathan was, that best would have suited for you to win? Because so many times, I guess, people would look at this race and be like, if anyone but Josh or Jakob are going to win this race, it's going to be one of them, or anyone but them. It'd rely on those two having to really fade. And it did happen with Jakob, but I guess, like, what's the plan then to beat Josh and Cole, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think before that race, I think a lot of what I thought was like, a strong, fast race is kind of what favors me in a way. I think like the slower a race gets, it depends on like how slow, but as we get into slower and slower races, it's like it gets more and more to be like tactical, like fighting for your position and like staying in it, versus part of what I loved about that race was just how like peaceful it was. Either it was just like you were going with this or you're not, and it's kind of up to you, versus like 10 people crowded right around you. So I think that was probably my like ideal race plan to go for the win, and it's just like kind of mustering up something like even greater than I've ever had to just like go that extra step and like get that winning position. So really that was kind of it, and that's kind of exactly how the race played out. And I still got bronze, but it's just like, I mean, I think that was my best case scenario.
You're one of those guys who's gone to the finish line with Jakob at the pre-classic was last year. Is there something different about the way he looked in that final 150 meters that you noticed, or it's like, oh yeah, he's coming back and like I'm gonna be able to get him this time around?
Not really. I mean, like I think like in the moment I was just like, one, like there's still 3 people in front of me.
Yeah.
I need to mitigate this, but also like I feel like I have like a ton of respect for Jakob, and I know that he's one to just like seem like he's getting closer, but can still kind of keep getting away. Like, I think especially at pre, it's like I was getting there, but like way too slowly. And so I wasn't really like taking anything for granted, and didn't really notice anything specifically going on until I was like basically like level with him. But yeah, I feel like leading a race like that fast can like do that to you. I think I had like not the same, but sort of similar at trials where it was kind of just
Yeah.
like, you run 3:30 just like all out like that, just by yourself really. Then it's gonna like, yeah, obviously like your kick isn't gonna be quite where you want it to be, but I think like, that's kind of the race you want to implement to like make it so that gives you your best chance to win. So, yeah, all props to him for being able to really go out and do that.
What's the biggest difference between yourself as an athlete from Budapest last year to now coming away with a medal in Paris?
It's a good question. I think last year I kind of built up a lot of momentum, had like a lot of amazing performances, and just like overall performed like way better than I thought I would for my first year as a professional. Switched to this year where like things are going great, but not quite as good as they were going last year. And I think, I kind of felt that, but I think that's why like 2023 was so important for me because, at the back of my mind, like this whole year, I was still just like, yeah, well, I'm still that guy from like 2023 who did like all those amazing things. And I think having that under my belt is kind of what the big difference was between Paris and Budapest. Like Budapest, it was still like I've done doing really well up to that point, but it felt like it solidified itself with my performance at Budapest versus, here in Paris, it's just like I know like where I am and I know that I'm like this good. So it's just like you have to keep believing in it, even if the results aren't like me winning every single thing, like from top to bottom. Yeah.
What was, for as joyous of a moment as this was, the build up to this has been really highly anticipated. What was the scariest part of race day?
Personally, I was like not eating as much as I wanted to, and it was freaking me out. I was just like, feel like I'm like so like nervous, anxious that I'm just like I'm dealing with it mentally well, but for some reason my body physically has just been like, no, like we're
And you can eat,
huge, and I can eat. So I was just like eating like a normal person basically, and I was just like, this is not
isn't
what
right.
I want the day of the race. Like, but maybe that's what I needed. I need to eat normally more often or something. But yeah, I think like I was still. There's like so much nerves because it is like such a hyped up race. Like I think, the Olympics in general is properly, honestly, hyped up, and I think, I was really feeling that, and I wanted to feel that because I think that was, what allows people to perform like such amazing feats is feeling that pressure and like kind of reveling in it a little bit.
Well, I was gonna say it's interesting you say that that you were really nervous because I think you do a really good job at kind of. It seems like you're not. You handle it really well. You seem very composed and calm on the line. And how do you do you feel? Is that something you have to work at? Do you just love being in the moment, love racing, or is it?
You're famously the most chill guy.
Yeah, you're very calm and cool out there. So it's interesting to hear you. And like you said that it was a peaceful race,
Yeah.
which struck me because it seemed anything but that. So yeah, talk a little bit about that. Talk about your mindset.
Yeah, I think growing up and just being who I am personally, that I am just very take things as they come and just like overall I don't tend to like overreact or react too strongly to any given stimulus, but a lot of the time they can still be there, and I think sometimes I ignore them, but lately I've been working on like embracing them as for what they are. That's some good therapist talk, but basically yeah, like I just want to a lot of the time I just identify what's happening and just instead of like trying to fight a feeling or just like really I don't know, make it seem negative, I kind of just like rephrase it as a like this is just like an anxious thought I'm having or like a weird mindset thing I'm doing, like it's okay, and I'm only feeling this way because I care about this race a lot and I am really excited, and this is my way of telling myself like this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done. And I think like that kind of when you build up and you're able to accept that a lot, I think that kind of helps with my chill persona and just how I come off, and I think it also helps in races to not like you want to feel like like this is it without like absolutely being like a ball of nerves.
I know you, Hobbs, Cole, all different coaches, different training setups, but for an American fan, it was super cool to see the three of you guys running a lot of that race together. was there anything shared between the three of you before the race? Like, you guys probably didn't share any sort of team tactics or anything like that beyond, but like behind the scenes between the three of you guys, what's that relationship been like at these games?
I think it's been pretty good. I really like the post-race kind of vibes. I think like after every race, where things are like, okay, cool, like we can kind of, decompress and act like normal people. I really enjoyed that, and I think, both Hobbs and Cole are like great guys to hang around. I need to invite Cole out one of these nights. I think.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it coming into the race, though, I think it was kind of just like, it felt like a little unspoken. I don't know. I think like all of us felt generally fit, and we didn't specifically talk about like packing up or anything like that. But I think it was kind of just like that. That's kind of the position I think all of us wanted to be in, was just like pretty close to the front and like in contention a little bit. And I didn't even realize they were like all like behind me like that until like I went back and watched the race. So I think it was super cool to see, and just so awesome, because I feel like I briefly mentioned at the trials, I was like, I think this is like, the best American 1500 meter running has been, and now to have like the hardware to back it up is super sick and super awesome.
I mean, you and Cole now in the all-time top 10 list, just in the whole world. What is that like now to kind of refresh that list and look and see? It's like your names are very close to the likes of, Hicham El Garouge and Bernard Lagat. Jakob still stays a little bit ahead, but now you guys are right there.
Yeah. I think the whole like 327 guy thing is kind of funny, because I feel like I didn't realize it until like someone in the media was like, and you got a PB, and I was like, what was my PB? I don't know. I didn't check. Like I was just more like, cool, got third. Yeah, like that was it. But I think it is really, really cool to see just how far things have come in I guess the short time that I've been paying attention to running anyway. I think it's just been like, it feels like so much has changed, and like I said, it has been the deepest the 1500 meter has been in such a long time, and to have a race go out and be won in 3:27 is so cool and so much fun.
A couple fun questions. How'd you celebrate? Like what went on, once you got out of the stadium, what was that like?
Yeah, so I think after everything that happened, I ended up going to a bar where a lot of my friends were at. And then my family eventually showed up later. But yeah, no, I just had like so many people out here for me, more so than I thought I had, because I planned for like around like 20, being like 15 family members and like 4 friends. And there were like so many other people that like I didn't realize were coming that were here. Like my high school coach was here. Some other people I'd known in college were there. Like it was just so amazing. And they all had these like Taylor Swift-esque shirts on about Yared Nuguse, the Olympic tour, and it was so cute and so awesome to see, because I was just like, I knew there were so many people here supporting me, but I think to see them all in one place, hanging out in some Irish pub, was just so awesome. So hung out there, enjoyed a few drinks, enjoyed the moment, and then eventually got home.
When we were in Budapest, you talked about just kind of your family, traveling out there and having this understanding of like what you do. And you had that line where it was just sort of like, your sister would just like prod or joke at you like, you didn't win or whatever it was. And your family being out here, there's a video that NBC shared of like your parents in tears in the stands, to see that and how much sort of this meant to them. I guess like what did that say to you?
Yeah. First, I need to see like this whole video. I've seen like the clip, and when people say it's my parents, I'm like, that's my sister.
Oh, really?
But at least like the one, like the forefront of the person who
I have it right
crying.
here, I guess. You can tell me once it pulls up who they are. So that's the race finish. Cole's dad went absolutely crazy.
I heard.
And then I think right after this, they'll flash over to...
Yeah, that's my sister.
Oh, okay, that's your sister.
And like my younger sister too, so it's really funny. But
your sisters were prodding you for not winning in Budapest, and now here they are in tears.
No, yeah, like I have like all 5 of my siblings are here, so that's like 4 sisters, and 3 of them are older, and then one of them's younger. And like it's the fact that I was the younger one who were just like, oh my god, like your mom crying. I was just like, she was unpleased, but
but it's clear like the Olympics, even they got it. Like this just means so much.
yeah, I think everyone can realize just how important it is, and how like of a huge moment that was. I think like myself included, and that's why I still haven't really come down, I think. But yeah, it's just like the Olympics really is like the pinnacle of our sport, and I think I didn't really realize what that meant until Paris. I think like Tokyo was cool, and I didn't even get to race, but even after that, like no fans and not really a ton happening, so it was kind of just like cool, I guess, you know. But you know, in Paris, just seeing like that full stadium, like going so loud at that last 200 meters, I can't even hear myself think. It's just such an amazing experience, and I think I'll remember this for a long time.
Yeah, obviously, like this is the coolest part of your job.
Yes.
And you also have said that like the plan is at 30 you're done, go back to dental school. Does any of this whole entire Olympic experience even change that slightly? Being like, you know, I could do this for a while.
No, I I think like it makes me really pumped for the next Olympics in LA, because I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be super sick now that I kind of know what I'm getting myself into. But like to stick around, that'd be till 2032. It's just like then I'm like 33, and it's like it's
right
just
in your
like
prime.
I don't know, but yeah, I think it's really cool. But you know, I'm
we'll cross that bridge when we get.
let's
not. Like let's talk retiring.
like, well, I hit the pinnacle. So this is it.
What was the thing you did when you walked out onto the track with your hands? Is that we were thinking it's like, is that a goose?
It was a goose thing. Thank you. I'm glad people seem to be able to get it. So
Yeah, no, I put it together. There are others that were slightly confused. I was like, it's a goose.
Yeah, they lined us up. I didn't know they were doing like intros like that. So they kind of like lined us up, and I was like, oh man, I need to do something.
That was spur of the moment.
Yeah. So I was I was not spur of the moment. I was thinking about what I was gonna do like on the line, like back there. But I was kind of just like, okay, like I'll do my peace sign, but like I need to do something more, like something cool. And I was thinking of like I could do like some weird like Splatoon thing, or like some kind of like pre-hype up whatever. But I'm just like, all of this seems too complicated to be figuring out like right now. Like if I had like a mirror, like maybe I could figure something out. But I was like, no, it just has to be like simple, like straight to the point, yada yada. And then I kind of thought, yeah, like a little like goose that would be really cool. So,
I like that's how you know you're ready to race when. Like you're like I got like everyone's nervous for the race and you're nervous. You're like I got to figure out what I'm doing with my hands. I got it. I can't just do the piece. I'm like got to make something cool.
That's just classic Yared deflection technique.
Yeah.
It's like okay,
It
I'm
worked.
nervous about what all these people are gonna see me. I got to do something cool. So yeah.
I guess final thing was, what was it like? I guess standing on the podium with Cole, the American anthem gets to play for Cole, but it's also in a way shared with you.
Yes, I think that was awesome. I feel like people kept asking me, they were like, "You looked like you were emotional." And I was like, I mean,
You're like, is that wrong?
I guess it depends on emotional. Your term of that. Like they were like, "Oh, it looks like you were crying." I was like, "No, I wasn't crying." But
No,
I'm not
don't
gonna
say
cry on
that
national
again.
television. But I think at that moment that was like our one like moment of peace to really like kind of look back at like what just happened and really like I don't know, really accept it for what it was. And I think I was able to just feel like a real like moment of being proud of myself and just like so happy just for everything, how it played out, how I got here, and just like how I performed. I think that was kind of a moment of reflection while the anthem was playing. And so yeah, I think it was really good. I think to have Cole right next to me and just your own American national anthem playing.
Yeah. Before I forget, what did Dathan say after the race?
Oh, he was happy. Like obviously, he was just going like absolutely
He was crying.
nuts. Yeah,
He was emotional, as it's all right to be.
No, yeah, like I was like, I think I kind of mentioned. I thought about this before. I was just like, I think it'd be okay if like I like cried after my race. Like I did so well, and then I was kind of like after the race, I'm like, nah, it's fine, it's fine, we're fine.
So there haven't been any tears.
I think it's okay if you cry after the race.
I
You
think
win a
it is
bronze
too.
medal.
I am
it's-
all good
yeah.
for expressing emotion and just like feeling it for what it is, because it's such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big crier, so I was kind of just like,
You're like, I'd love to cry. Wish
I think that'd be cool.
wish
but
I had it in me. Yeah.
But no, it is just I haven't cried specifically, but I think if I was ever close, it was when the national anthem was playing. So yeah.
All right. So what's next?
Next is just accepting this still. I think like I really want to, really imprint on this memory for like a long time. Short term, enjoy Paris. I'm here till closing, so that's fun. But still have a few more races, so the work is not done yet, unfortunately. But I'll hammer those out and then really get to enjoy 24 season for what it was.
Yeah, but then off season,
Off season,
Taylor Swift concert at any point?
yeah, I will go see another one in November. I am. Well, that's more back in fall training.
Yeah,
but
But still, like that's early in the fall. That's a good time to see a concert.
no,
Yeah, I'm going
yeah,
for the first time, November, and I think it's November or October in Toronto.
You're going.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! Well, tell me what
actually
you think. Obviously, it's gonna change your lives.
Awesome. Well, Yared, we appreciate you and congratulations.
Yeah,
This has been
big congratulations.
awesome to have essentially a front row seat to seeing you at U.S. Championships in Budapest, and just at all these races all throughout the year and being along for the ride, and it was thrilling and soak in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely will, and thank you guys for having me. This has been a crazy season.
Sweet.